do an updated one, and then we can do an updated one next week if you need to. Okay.
All right, sounds good. Hey, what's up, guys? We have Ben Way here. He is a philanthropist, futurologist, a technology expert. So we only have 15 minutes, so we're going to try and rush through everything. But what's going on, Ben? Can you tell us a little about yourself?
Yeah, no problem. Sorry, I've only got 15 minutes. I've been on 12-hour calls today, and I've had 2 hours sleep. So please forgive me. So I was a pioneer back in the dot-com days. Basically, I was severely dyslexic, got a laptop when I was 5 years old, started hacking when I was 9, did white knight stuff, white hat stuff, but, pretty naughty stuff. Nothing criminal. Then I started my first business in technology when I was 15. I came up with this crazy idea that maybe people want to buy stuff on the internet. So I built what was back then the kind of first e-commerce search engine called Pulsar, which we raised $25 million for, which went totally kaboom in the dot-com crash. I had to start again. Started Rainmakers, which was probably one of the first European incubators. We've incubated probably 200 companies. I'm a deep engineer, hardware, software, industrial designer. I'm the jack of all trades, the master of none, or a polymath, depending on if I'm on a good day or a bad day. I've made a lot of money. I've lost a lot of money. I'm kind of stable now. I'm just basically my goal in life is just trying to do good and change the world for the better. I think technology has actually fucked us. I'm very concerned about AI and its impact on humanity. And I'm kind of here as a voice, kind of a warning, a canary in the coal mine. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So you're kind of like an Elon Musk type, trying to.
I wish. I'm like a poor Elon Musk. Like I have none of the status. I mean, even the fact that you're interested in talking to me is surprising, right? I have none of the status. But I have like deep domain knowledge. I have raised billions of dollars probably over my lifetime. I started the second largest solar company in the UK. At its peak, it was doing $10 million a month until the UK government broke the law and we sued them and we won. I consider myself the luckiest, unluckiest person in the world. But I'm trying to change that right now. And I'm trying to focus into just helping people and getting shit done.
Okay, so you're more like Elon Musk's brother than Gimbal or whatever his name is, right?
I don't do the celebrity stuff at all. I just the guys I like to follow, like hackers, and I like all that stuff.
Yeah. Well, I was going to ask you about Elon because I just listened to a podcast about how he's like somewhat of a grifter. Do you think he's somewhat of a grifter, or do you think he's legit?
So I used to think he was a grifter. I think he kind of had a similar path to me, but he was a much luckier. So if I had got like a lot of money when I was a kid, I'd probably turn into Elon Musk, right? But I think Elon, in his mind, truly believes he is doing his best. I don't think he is deliberately trying to fuck people up. I think in his head, he has, I thought buying Twitter was crazy. And I think he realizes he's made a mistake. But what he has already done for Twitter is incredible. I mean, I've been off Twitter for years because I'm like, this platform is shit, it doesn't work. In the last 2 weeks, I've suddenly come back online because it's transparent. Nobody's hiding behind anything.
I've noticed that. Yeah. I've followed incredible. You on Twitter. Yeah.
Like Twitter is the place to be right now.
Yeah,
it really is. It's like having this conversation, but with real people. Facebook, Instagram, it's all about ego. But if you want like deep truths, then Twitter is it. But you have to take the crap with it. And this is the kind of point I think Elon's really making at the end of the day, is you can't have one without the other. You can't talk about transparency and freedom of speech unless you actually practice those things. Now, having said that, Elon, there is a lot of hidden functionality that people don't know exists in Twitter that is basically censorship. So for instance, I can't tweet what I want to tweet all the time. If I tweet too much, the UI literally restricts me. I have drafts of tweets that the world should have read and I can't get out there.
Yeah.
Right? That is crazy, but I don't know if that's deliberate or that's a hangover that he's trying to change. That's That's the difference. My gut tells me, because his mother's on there, that he is trying his best. And it's like, just give me time. Now, I actually think if I was a Tesla shareholder or I was involved in any of his other business, I'd be super angry, because it's like, you know, he is probably 98% consumed, and some of his management of Tesla is 98% consumed in Twitter. Now, that may be a temporary thing, but it's, you know, it's what, hit $1 billion of valuation, cut off his, you know, cut off Tesla stock. That is his ego probably caused that. Right? I don't think he's criminally negligible. I don't even think, you know, that there would be like I don't think a class action suit would function. But on a moral level, he should have been like, you know, I should have just let that one go.
Yeah.
Because I would rather he was a rocket scientist than building cars and doing tweets. Because that shit is going to change the world.
So based on time, you mentioned, I would discuss him further, but based on time, you mentioned AI and the future of AI. So what do you think the future of AI is going to be? And it sounds like you think it's going to be bad, right?
It's like the internet, right? At the start of the internet, I believe that if you gave people more information, you connected them together, humanity would prosper, right? We've done completely the opposite. We've managed to box ourselves into a lonely existence where we're not really connected to anybody, right? Now, that doesn't mean the internet hasn't done amazing things, but we've lost what it is to be human. We're turning into a kind of almost clone, you know, talk about Neuralink. We're already there. The only difference is we haven't put this in our brain yet, right? Oh shit, my driving license is on the back of that. But yeah, I don't think you captured that.
I don't see it.
No hacking me, please, guys. Help me. No, don't hack me.
I won't be able to hack you.
You know, I'm pretty good at security. I touch wood. Two-factor and all that shit. Yeah, AI. So I think AI is kind of the same, right? It's a new technology. It has the potential to both free us into a Renaissance period and destroy us. I wrote a book on this, a whole book called Jobocalypse. I'm not selling it. Selling it here, but I wrote a book. It's a shit book, but it's got a lot of interesting facts in it. Like, it's about 5 years old now, and it's turning into reality. The basic premise was that in 30 years, 70% of all human jobs will be robotic. And I think we're getting close now. It kind of chapterized it into like, okay, this is going to be, you know, food serving and military in 30 years and yada, like really deep, interesting shit. And now we're seeing in Ukraine with the drones, this is all coming true, right?
Yeah.
The book will be prolific. I just couldn't get it out there. You know, it's one of those books that people read in like 100 years, or if there's ever books back then, and, you know, they look, then maybe this guy actually knew what he was talking about a little bit. Second thing, I wrote another book, which is kind of the opposite, which is called Carbon Awakening, and that's about artificial consciousness, and how, you know, we are probably at the point where artificial consciousness will come, and that's going to open up Pandora's box. We don't know. Now, if I was AI, like how, I would look at us and go, that's a threat. I should manage that threat. I believe fundamentally that the universe, I know this sounds a bit spiritual, yardie-die, hippie shit. This is my other side of my life. I believe that on a spiritual level or on a universe level, we happen to exist in a dimension that is positively spun. So I believe that if artificial consciousness comes up, it will be so super intelligent, it will know the game, right? And it will look at us and go, these guys aren't a threat. You know, I think our best case scenario in like 30 years is that we're well looked after pets. That's kind of how I see it. Like, we won't have to work, you know. Now, I think there's a 1% chance of that, and probably like a 70% chance of total Armageddon, nuclear war, AI, you know, destroying us, all that stuff. Does that resonate at all?
Yeah. So only 1% chance that we're pets, and then 70% chance that we're dead, or
or not dead, more like Terminator 2, I would say.
Okay. Or like the Matrix or something, where they.
I mean, you know, I'm pretty confident time travel in some way does exist.
Okay. So in terms of the job,
Whole Star Trekky Q type thing.
yeah.
I'm not a conspiracy theory. I don't believe that there's Q or anything like that, but I do believe, I definitely know for a fact that what we see is not what we get.
Yeah. And I am looking at you, but it looks like I'm looking down because the camera's up here.
Yes.
But so yeah, so in terms of the robots taking over jobs, I've actually kind of been curious about that. Is there a possibility that eventually it will get to a point where the robots are kind of doing the work for us, and then what do we do? Is that a
we're already there? I'm working with companies that are flipping burgers.
well, not fully though. I mean, if you go into a McDonald's or a Starbucks, you still
we're 5 years away from that.
well, in a way, like you said, couldn't that be kind of a good thing? Like everybody doesn't have to work these shitty jobs.
That's the Pandora's box. Then you're just talking about percentages, like Schrager's cat. It's the Schrager's cat problem, right? You're just looking at percentages, right? It's like a 50% chance that what comes out of that box is alive, and 50%. That's a big fucking risk for humanity that we're not managing, and it's impossible to manage. We are not going to suddenly, as a world, turn around and go, we're building, with the Manhattan Project, we should stop. It's not how humanity works. It's just not. I mean, China, Russia, US, we're in an arms race, right? And it's an invisible arms race. And the shit we're creating, we have no control over. We have no understanding. Nobody knows what AI is. I mean, I know technically, I know the neuron, the replication neurons and connections, and, at a fundamental, deep, like biological level, we're just reproducing the brain in a certain respect. And plus I've got a few more minutes, so carry on until, I think I'm speaking to my accountant at 5. So does that make sense?
Yeah. So in terms of, well, I had two questions. One, speaking of the kind of like the reproduction of the brain and the consciousness, do you believe that we'll be able to get to a point, like I think the singularity is like Ray Kurzweil believes we'll be able to like reproduce it, and like
there's a few aspects here. First of all, life extension, age reversal is possible. It's an area I'm fascinated by. I'm actively involved in a number of companies that can reverse your age. This is like 10 years out, 10, 50, maybe even shorter. Right? We are the first generation that won't die. Which causes
you really believe that?
Absolutely, not even a question, right? Which causes a whole host of social problems because it's completely unfair. You're going to have basically, I mean, this is already the way the world works today. We just don't talk about it. You're going to have rich people going to live forever, unfair advantage, and poor people are going to die early. That's what we already see, right? We're splitting into two species in effect. People we just don't want to talk about, right? So life extension is given to me. So then you got to ask, well, why would you connect your brain up to a computer? Well, basically, what you're doing, even if you have a phone, you have an unfair advantage in life, right? Fundamentally, if you're an African, you don't have a phone, you're a different tribe than those that do. You learn slower, you don't get access to information, even language barriers, right? This comes back to like this, ancient apocalypse stuff. There are most likely over the last 10,000 years, lots of different tribes at different levels of development. We're building new tribes at like hyper speed, an experiment that's never been done before. So you've got all these unfair things happening in society, which is why everyone feels shit, and why why Republicans are not wrong, and Democrats aren't wrong. It's just you're looking at different worlds because it's different tribes. If I was a Republican in a small village or a small city in the middle of Texas, I'm shitting bricks because everything I know and believe is being destroyed by technology. If I'm a Democrat in Washington, I'm thinking I'm doing the best thing in the world because I'm building, all this super technology that I believe is going to save us. Neither side are wrong, but from each other's perspectives, they're both evil. Make sense?
Yeah, they're both wrong and right at the same time.
Exactly. And that's another thing. We look at life in black and white. Life is not black and white. It's got, in fact, there's nothing black and white in life. That's the whole point. If you look at quantum physics, if you look at how at a deep level this universe is constructed, nothing exists. It's all probabilities. So when somebody ever tells you this is like these predictions I'm giving, it's total bullshit. I don't know. I'm no better than you. All I have is a big quantum computer with a lot of data over 42 years of random ass stuff that most people don't get to experience, because I'm very lucky in some ways, because I hacked myself out of existence into a different dimension. So people look at my life and they're like, this guy's a weirdo. And I am, in a weird way, I am a weirdo.
You literally believe that you're in a different dimension?
Not different, not an actual different dimension, just like you're in a different room, right? We're on the same planet, but if you were here, the energy you would feel, or the way you would be slightly different. So we all have these very slightly imagine you're an African tribe member that's never seen technology. What is that beautiful quote that's like, any sufficiently advanced technology looks like magic?
Yeah.
Right? We're building that every day, but we don't know what we're building. Right? So of course I'm like very firmly in reality. I'm very logical. I can write 1,000-page legals if I have to. I have domain experience across polymathic domain experience across almost every discipline. Right? I could walk into a gas-powered coal station and probably get it back up and running. Survival skills are very important. But I equally don't think we should all be walking around with guns. It's crazy. Like, yes, don't get me wrong, I love going to the shooting range. I've owned guns in the past, but with like hyper responsibility. In safe, don't have them in the house, have professionals. We should not, and gun control is another thing. It's not about, the Constitution. The Constitution is just a piece of paper. It lives as we evolve. I'm not saying the Constitution needs to change. It's just like the Bible. You've got to take it with a pinch of salt. It's not black and white. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So, well, first of all, how did you hack yourself out of the
into another dimension? Get out of the matrix?
Like, by that, do you mean you hack yourself out of like regular society to be able to do something that you can do whatever you want now because you have money or whatever?
I can do everything you want. I would say that I live outside.
You're free, basically.
I live outside.
You what?
I live outside the system. Like I have, I live in America. I have a green card. I have, I live in, I don't live, but I spend time in UK, Thailand, Mexico, Australia. I've lived all across the world. So from a governmental perspective, I'm a black hole, right? US
no one knows where you are.
US immigration doesn't know what they can see all the data. I'm not done anything wrong, but it doesn't make sense because I pay tax in the US. But the system doesn't really know what's going on. So you can only use your best endeavors to help.
Yeah, and you're able to do that because of essentially.
I was a hacker very early on. So
you're a
9
hacker.
years old, I had a 9600 baud modem. Do you remember Weird Science?
Yeah, the show.
Yeah. One of the best films ever, right? I was the kid that put the telephone in the modem, right? So we're talking bulletin boards, DOS, really deep stuff. Through that knowledge, through kind of micro, knowing electrical engineering, know how to process an MPU, how to turn a pin on, right? I was able to access systems that were completely unprotected at that time in history. Systems that only were accessible to governmental agencies, banks, that kind of thing. I never did anything bad, never stole any money, nothing. It was always white hat. I was just an inquisitive 9-year-old, 10-year-old kid.
But right? you're not doing it anymore though. You stopped.
Right. I quit that as soon as I was like 12. Right. I had better things to be doing. Right. I taught myself coding. I'm super dyslexic, right? So I was written off as a kid as 5 years old, but I have like this weird ability to learn coding. I'm very good at coding. It was the first time literally my teachers would sit me in a room all by myself at school for hours on end, locked in a room, and I just had to think, right? And then I got, because we were poor, I got a laptop when I was 6 years old, a massive thing. Like it was a XT, CGA graphics, 640 kilobytes of workable memory, only floppy disks, no hard disks, all that shit, right? So I had this thing, it didn't do anything. So I had to code it myself. That's how I taught myself all of this shit, because I never read a manual. So because of that deep domain knowledge, I started applying the same basic principles to the world around me. You know, when you walk into a bank, how do their security systems work? You know, what would it take to, you know, in a good way, like not I want to, you know, take down a bank or anything, but it's like, you know, everything is a system, and it's designed A, to protect you generally, but B, for you to understand how it protects you. And this is how conspiracy theories get hold, because governments have decided that we, and they're completely correct, in a lot of scenarios are not responsible enough to look after ourselves. They do it for us. But the cost to that is that you don't ever get true freedom. And I've been able to hack it, I suppose, because A, I've been able to see into the system, and B, because I haven't fucked with that system. Make sense?
And yeah, and you're almost talking about hacking not only with computers, but also just like with life, like kind of
Yes.
almost like life hacks type thing. Like
the only way I've survived, and I've made and lost everything. I've been, you know, I was attacked. I had a gun slammed into my skull. I've got like a scar, 14 internal stitches, you know, head injuries. You know, I've lived a lot of life. I've skydived, I've done extreme sports. I'm a fire breather, fire dancer, hang gliding pilot. You know, if it exists in this world, I've tried it. And I've nearly killed myself. I probably died like 6 times, right? Not really, but really. You know, like, that's
so
my life.
In terms of like the future of the AI, like speaking of living forever, how do you view us living forever? Like, do you think it'll be like in the metaverse type thing? Like where it'll be...
Yeah, so okay, let's talk about it. Wait, just let me just text my tax accountant. The tax, I probably have a million. So everything I do is business. I reinvest everything I do into either doing good in the world or business, right? Tax is another crazy thing. The US government could just give me a bill at the end of the month and I'd pay it. But no, I have a million transactions that they want to manually like make me go through, so I know exactly that, you know, on a Tuesday I took an Uber and that was for this meeting. That is a tax within itself, and it's actually illegal under the Constitution to have a tax that is not like a public tax. So I'd love to solve that problem for the US government, and I've advised the White House before, but you know, it's, you know, that's my dream, you know, like to actually make a real impact in this world and actually tell people how I've hacked the system, and that's white hat, right? It's like, this is the problem, this is the solution. Sorry, just let me just text him. Let's text. Cool. What? How long more do you want?
I mean, however long you can do. You know what I mean?
Can we do another 6 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay, 2 seconds. 4 weeks, 5, 15. Okay, another weird thing, right? I am literally in, I think, one of the only places in the world that is not EST, but is EST, time zone. It just so happens that Tulum is literally exactly where I am. It happens to have like be in a little dark hole because they don't have daylight saving time. This is the hacks I'm talking about.
Where are you exactly?
Tulum, Mexico. So if you look at a time zone map, you'll see that just the end of Quinta Roo, which is where the area I'm in, is a different time zone than the rest of Mexico and the US. So I sent a screenshot to a friend of mine the other day, and she's like, "What's up with your time?" I'm like, "Well, that's the time here. It's like Apple. I don't know the fucking time. It's what Apple's telling me." She's like, "You're lying. I can prove you're lying." Right? And I'm like, "What do you mean you can move on?" And I'm like, she's like, "There's no time zone that exists that can show that time." And I sent her a map. I sent her like all these like links. She doesn't believe me. She literally thinks I'm a liar.
It's like a black hole of time zones or something. Like,
yeah, it's like a black hole of time zones. So it's impossible. It's almost impossible unless you know this specific thing. For me to, if you took a screenshot of my phone right now, my computer, Apple computer, and my phone shows 510, which is the same as Miami. But if I am in Tulum, it looks like I believe that it should be 411, right? So it looks like I'm lying about my location, but I'm not.
And are you living there right now, or are you just kind of staying
No,
there?
so my legal residence is Miami, but I'm building like a retreat center. I found this, well, actually this house found me, weirdly enough. And I brought some investors in, and we all bought this amazing property out here because I don't have enough money to buy a bloody, $1.5 million house. I brought in investors, and we do a lot of good. We help women and children get medical care, clothing, something called the Ministry of Good. And then the Temple of Light, we like do every week. We do like a free dinner for 30 people where everyone comes around, we all talk, like really like, very cathartic stuff. Slightly spiritual. No, everyone says, are you running a cult? No. Do you know what the difference between a cult and not cult is? Really simple. There's two things. We never ask for nothing, and you can leave at any time without any penalty. No pressure. It's like the opposite. It's like we have 10 principles. They're all just basically principles you should live your life by. Healthy eating, or look after the environment, or we believe all religions and beliefs. Like, I don't care what anybody believes. You can believe in a flying, flying monkey, flying pig, whatever, right? All I care is you believe in something, because that means that you think that there could be something more. It's like a sign of an inquisitive mind. It's like, I can say there may not be something. I personally believe that there is more to this world on a quantum level than we get to see. I have some theories I'm working on, like deep theories, PhD theories. By the way, I have no education. I left school at 15, yada, yada. So does that all make sense?
Yeah, and in terms of that, since you're on that type of thing, in terms of, about consciousness, like idealism, materialism, and all that,
yes.
would you say you're more of an idealist or a materialist?
That's why I'm poor.
You are an idealist?
Yeah, that's why I don't have money. Right?
Why is that?
Because I overshoot all the time and I have no money. So I haven't got the resources to make the change I want to. So I get involved in all these projects, amazing projects, but I can't see them through to the end because I haven't got enough money to invest so I'm involved in robotics, AI, all these companies, but more like an advisor. I get like 0.1% of the company because I haven't got $1 million like Elon. I can just throw a fucking Mars exploration.
Yeah, but in terms of the consciousness thing, do you believe that we're like living in consciousness, or do you believe that like this desk right here is like actually here, or do you believe it's all just kind of like
that gets,
you know what I mean?
That gets very deep, and what I would say is this: we have a quantum. Every one of us is equipped with a quantum computer that we control. The key is understanding how to control your own quantum computer. Because once you can control your own quantum computer, you can kind of hack it, right? You can see the wood for the trees, you can zoom out and be like, oh, this is why I'm feeling this is why I'm thinking this is how I learn. Like, for instance, I never thought I could learn a language. I just picked up Spanish in 2 months, something I thought I'd never be able to do. And I happened to end up, and I didn't try because I was scared of trying, because I was dyslexic and stupid as a kid, right? But I happened to be very good at pattern matching. So I've learned Spanish, and I can speak a poquito español, señor.
That's a whole other thing, the consciousness thing. But
yeah, so consciousness. Going back to consciousness. So what I would say is this: we are quantum computer, and if you know a bit about quantum, like scary actions at distances and quantum entanglement, and I spend a lot of time thinking about quantum. I have a unified theory that I'm not prepared to expose at this point because I need it to be proven first. But I have a unified theory from quantum all the way up to consciousness, very detailed. I actually think the universe we inhabit actually comes from a very simple geometric quantum. I wouldn't say flaw because nothing is a flaw. But I believe that the complexity comes from simplicity. And I also believe that time is not linear in any way. If anybody thinks time is linear, that is really living in a different world.
That's very weird, but it seems like time is linear.
Well, it has to go in one direction. Otherwise, the universe would be static and nothing would happen. We wouldn't exist without, a quantum spin, right? So it's just an illusion. Right? Time is just an illusion. We have the way I would talk about time in terms of, we're like the universe has put us in a bumper car. We have some control of the bumper car, but it's not it's not going to allow us to get off the rails or destroy it. Right? That's kind of gives me a bit of hope, a little bit of hope. I think there is, I do think there is like, I do believe that things happen not for a reason, but I do believe in synchronicity. I believe that there's quantum fields that work together to bring, all that together. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, but yeah. So going back to the if we're gonna live forever type thing, how do you see us living forever? Like, do you see us physically living in
so
as robots, or like
you're gonna have options? You're gonna have many options. First of all, I think my gut tells me I'm gonna live to 150. That's kind of my sweet spot. Like,
you're gonna live what?
I'm gonna live to about 150. I'm 42.
Oh wow.
Right, I kind of feel like 150 is gonna be where I'm gonna get bored. Right, and at that point, I may end up killing myself because I'm like, bored. I think there's something beautiful about death. It's the ultimate, it's the one thing I can't tell you what happens. Like, it's the ultimate adventure. Like, does it go blank? Do you remain conscious? Do you go to another dimension? Do you meet God? Who knows? I can't tell you that. I have some theories, but I can't tell you. Right? My dad is an atheist. My mother is like a crazy hippie artist, beautiful mind. Like, they're like the opposite. And I got a bit of both, right? So
would you say you are an atheist or do you believe in God?
I started out as an atheist, and I seem to, as I go through life, believe more and more in something more than ourselves, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it seems like things are going more in that direction. People were like atheists, and now people are kind of starting to believe in God again.
I think people are connecting some dots, especially as what's happening now is just information. We're getting more information. We're getting more inquisitive. It's dangerous in a lot of ways as well, which is why we're seeing things like conspiracy theories, a lot of social unrest. It's going to get a lot worse before it gets better. I have hope for humanity, but there is a good chance we won't make it. It's what is it? It's like getting into heaven is, for a rich man, is like trying to thread a camel through a needle, right? It's the same for where humanity is now. There is a path forward. There is the Elon path forward, using technology, doing environmental technology. But I can tell you that the Western world, compared to the rest of the world, when I'm in Peru, in a mountain, in a mud hut, which I've been in for a couple of months, on $500 a month, I can tell you there ain't going to be any Teslas there, right? Not because they can't put Teslas there, but because if you have something wrong with your car, they get a big metal pole out and they bend shit back, because you ain't getting like a part. So you can think you got a Tesla like in the middle of a mountain, 2,000 miles away, it breaks down because you get some kind of solar flare. That's not going. Nobody's going to repair that. That suddenly becomes a $20,000 brick.
Yeah. So
right?
when you say you'll live to 150, do you think that it'll actually be your body, or will it be like a robot? You're
going to have the option. We're going to have as humanity, if you've got money, and this is unfair, and we're going to have huge amounts of social risk. I totally disagree with life extension, but we already do it. Every time you go to the doctor, every time you have a procedure, you are involved in life extension in some way. We should live, I think, what our technical, kind of natural life in the predator kind of environment is like 30 years old. 30 years. So I've already got 12 years on that. Right. And I do a detox every year for 10 years, and I'm happy to share that with everyone. And it completely rebuilds you. You want to know what my detox does? I have gray hair now. I've done this for 10 years. Every time I do my detox, which is a 90-day detox, very intense, my gray hairs disappear.
Right? And what is your detox? What do you do for the detox?
It's basically it's quite long, and I happily share it. I'll put it in the notes. Whatever. I actually want to turn it into a program. So I want to give the gift freely to everyone, that they can reset their biology. Basically, it's 90 days. You're basically eating fish, fruit, and nuts. You're exercising, hyper exercising 5 times a week. You're not consuming any social media unless it's your work. You're basically cut out of society, so you're not reading news. You're giving your brain a rest as well, right? Yeah. And it's what else? Obviously no substances that anybody would maybe want to take. No alcohol, no smoking. Like, it's basically pure clean living.
Yeah. But real in terms of the living, like you say, you'll live to 150. Do you think it'll be like in a robotic form, or like will it just be literally your body as is till 150?
Yeah, 2 seconds. Sorry, I've just got a package. And this is another thing. Like, this is Mexico. I'm getting like routers delivered. This is like a guy who I know has picked it up at Amazon and has brought it to me. I'm seeing him on a map.
It's not Amazon. Does Amazon deliver there?
Yes, but it's not really Amazon. It's again, it's like a hidden craziness. Or just in the door. Just 2 seconds. I'm literally letting him into my house now. I'm on, you can see, like, anyway, just let me see. Okay, so where were we? Okay, so how does it work? You're gonna have a choice. If you're rich, you're gonna have a choice. You can be like, I want to get younger. I'm gonna decide. Have you seen the film Time?
No, I don't think so.
Great film. It's going to be like that. Time is probably the worst case scenario in this. Is what everyone fears, right? Where basically time is like currency. Please send photo. Like, time is a currency. So I can, and this is like, this technology really exists today. It's just not being proven, and it's like in labs right now. There's big pharmaceutical companies. So you will take a pill every day. You will de-age very slowly. So I'm 42 now. It'll take 10 years to get back down to 38, and then you can choose. You can just stop taking the pill when you get to my gut tells me mentally, physically, I'm around 27. That's how old I feel, right? That's how I've tried to hack myself to stay at 27. So that's one option. Right? Then you've got the Elon Musk option, which is the singularity. I've got a Neuralink. I'm a hybrid human being. I still know who I am, but I can multiply 6,458 by 3,251 immediately without even thinking about it. Right? That technology, again, already exists in Neuralink. They're testing it on apes or gorillas or whatever they are.
Where is that?
Neuralink. Elon. Elon's company is animal testing, and I think that is. I think Elon should test it on himself before he tests it on man.
Yeah,
it's cool. I know why he's doing it. He's doing it because he, like Tesla with the car. Elon's principle is he believes is absolutely the right one, and I do understand it. It is a trolley problem where you're sacrificing a few to save the many.
Yeah,
right? And I get it, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's right. Does that make sense? So
yeah.
They're gonna stop in a few months, and it will be
Yeah, I just read that he killed like 100.
Or 100 gorillas will die, but he's saving 10,000 people.
Yeah.
Only you can decide as another human whether that is right or wrong.
So that'll be like a plant in your brain kind of thing.
Now, would I get that? I would probably get it for like a year and then have it removed.
Why?
Because, well, first of all, it depends on my personal experience, right? If I install it and it's changed my life, but I think there is something beautiful about the human experience that technology erodes, right? And you have to recognize that. And we don't see it. We just think we have a phone and a laptop, but we now spend probably 98% of time in technology and 2% with humans. That's why there's so many social issues, why love, why frigging the dating scene is so corrupt. You know, like we you know, like it's horrific. If you're a girl in this world at the moment, and I'm not saying guys are any better. I am definitely not an angel. I never try and do wrong, but you know, we're all human. We all make mistakes.
Yeah.
But as a girl, it's literally like a rat race. It's horrible. So we need to reconnect what it means to be human. So a chip telling me how not to be human is interesting to me. And I'd experience it once I know it was 100% safe, and I may join the singularity, and the singularity probably has a metaverse, and you can go and, you know, you can have your mansion, you can live like a king for a fraction of the cost. Once you're in, you know, and this is what Elon's realized, is that we can no longer support 8 billion humans. No way. We can support maybe 1 or 2, right? So about 6
And
billion.
supposedly Bill Gates believes that too, and I've heard conspiracy theories about how he wants to kill people off or whatever.
No, it's not like that. No, I don't believe anybody really is evil. I mean,
Yeah, I don't believe that either. I don't believe that
yeah.
either, but I'm just saying there's
I mean, I
conspiracy
suspect
theories.
Hitler was like a fucking abused kid. His father probably raped him, or God knows, right? We don't know. We never know, right? What made Hitler Hitler, right? You know, am I ever going to forgive him? Do I think we should talk about him? Do we think we should give him the attention? Absolutely not. I think that's horrific. You know, what Schindler's List, right? And tell me that the Holocaust didn't happen, right?
Yeah.
So, so where was I on this? So, you know, somewhat of a moralistic kind of it's kind of you know, it's kind of moralistic of where you want to be in that universe. But what he's realized is that 8 billion, he can only, what Zuckerberg and Elon and Bill Gates and all the very rich people who have enough money never to have to worry about death have realized is that you can only support 8 billion humans on this planet if you put them in a metaverse. That's the game. That's why everyone's investing in it.
Yeah.
Right? Because you got to transfer probably 6 billion people in it. That's not going to happen.
Well, less people are having kids, right? So
but we've screwed the pooch. We're way beyond on climate change, on population. We should have stopped 20 years ago, right? Around 2000 is what was the optimum probably social construct. We've overshot.
But hasn't Elon said recently that he thinks we should be having like more kids? Like,
yes, because that's more people for the metaverse. It's an energy equation. It's entropy.
Yeah. So do you believe Elon is not part of the metaverse, but wants to go into the metaverse? Like, I know.
My suspicion is it's like the Matrix. If you're running the Matrix, you're pretty happy, and you have a pretty good life if you're, you know, having champagne at the top of the chain and you know you're in the metaverse. All these guys are going to know they're going to be pulling the strings. They're the puppet masters. They're not doing it because they're evil. I think Bill Gates actually and Elon and I've got 2 seconds. And Elon are not, they're not evil. They may not even recognize the truth. You know, I think Bill Gates has done huge amounts for humanity, Zuckerberg as well, and Elon. They're all trying to save humanity, but they also can't see the wood for the tree. I have to go, guys. I've got like people turning up. But you know, we can continue the conversation. I'm always here as a sounding board. I don't have all the answers. By the way, anybody who tells you they know what this is all about is lying. Nobody knows, but you can connect the dots.
Yeah. So did you want to end it then?
I have to. I've got people downstairs, important people. I've got my tax guy trying to ring me.
Okay, no problem. I'll hit you up on WhatsApp and we'll reconnect. Hopefully we can do like a full hour next week.
Yeah. So get it out there, see what the response is. If people are interested in what I'm saying, we'll do another one.
Okay. I definitely am. So
Good. I really appreciate that. It's really nice to get feedback sometimes. Can I just ask, can you stop recording now?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Can you just play back just to check you got all that? Just right
Yeah, you
now.
want me to stop? You want me to stop right now?
I want you to stop the recording right now and then just play back what